Welcome to the chaos. Today is Thursday, December 19th. I'm Jill Savage, and this is a very special edition of Blaze News Tonight. We are live from AmericaFest, and along with me, of course, as always, is Matthew Peterson. He's our editor-in-chief of Blaze News. And what a way to kick it off with none other than Jack Posobiec. He's a senior editor at Human Events and a best-selling author. And Jack, we were out there and seeing the doors open, everybody coming through, and you were the one here when you had your show, getting the crowd fired up. Everybody is ready to be here in Phoenix at AmericaFest right now.
Well, Jill, thanks so much for having me on again. Doc Peterson, always a pleasure. Folks who don't know, by the way, I am a recovering student of Dr. Peterson here from the Claremont Institute, where they very foolishly just woke up one night and Peterson was like, just throwing darts at Twitter and decided to give me a chance at coming in the Lincoln program, and just very grateful for the way that you gave me that opportunity 5 years ago, and also stood up to all of the very foolish people who got so upset at you for thinking that we could actually perhaps have a new way forward for nationalist populist politics, and possibly might have to break a few eggs on the way there.
Yes, and I didn't throw anything at the wall. I watched you for 2 years, and I was like, we got to get this guy. You know what was funny about that is thinking back on that now, all those people who were so upset about you becoming a Lincoln Fellow and about the changes that we made and the direction we were moving, not a single one of them is doing anything right now. They're all gone.
Completely gone. They're not in the zeitgeist. I mean, if I went around here, no one would know their names, and that's really the end of it. That's really the end. But yeah, this AmericaFest, as it stands now, is the largest grassroots meeting of the populist nationalist movement, and you hear all the different events that are going on, the speakers, Charlie Kirk, of course, putting it together with the incredible Turning Point and Turning Point Action team, and it represents a very different, I mean, you've got like social conservatives, and you've got Tea Partiers, and you've got fiscal conservatives, but then you have like the MAGA crowd and the RFK types, and you've got the what did the Wall Street Journal say? The angry veterans. Yeah, I love the angry veterans. They said.
I wonder why they're angry.
Yeah, they said Donald Trump keeps staffing his cabinet with angry GWAT veterans like Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, and J.D. Vance, and I'm like, I love that moniker,
Yes.
angry veterans.
Yes.
That's perfect. And I served in as well at Guantanamo Bay, and angry veterans is the perfect way to tell it. You lied to all of us about the global war on terror. We signed up because we thought that we were doing the right thing for our country. I joined the intel community through Navy Intel, and I thought, hey, I want to go and I want to be in uniform and I want to serve. And then we got there and found out what was actually going on and said, whoa, you guys lied to me. And they said, well, you guys won't do anything about it. And as it turns out, we did.
What I love about this, Jill, is that Jack mentions all these different groups here and the energy of this event, and how people in the past who were complaining about a new way forward for the right aren't here anymore. But now this isn't just some small group of people, non-influential, out of power. This is the event where the people who are connected to the rising tide that is in power, right, are all congregating, and that's a very different feel than in the past.
To wit, I mean, I kind of think Mike Johnson just ended his speakership by canceling his event at this event, canceling his speech at this event. And of course, that's predicated on his actions in Washington. But the fact that he pulled out of AmFest, I mean, that is sort of like, and it's like not showing up at the Olympics or something. I don't know how to put it.
Jack, when you were going through that list of the different conservative factions, I'm like, yeah, that's a list right now of everybody that's angry at Speaker Mike Johnson, right?
It really is. And by the way, I shouldn't forget. I should not leave out the Mama Bears, the Moms for Liberty, and the student boards, and the the men and women sports. All that it is, which is kind of part of MAGA, I feel like. But it's just there's so many different coalitions.
Yeah. But we're seeing a major blowback against the CR bill this week now, and it's so interesting because everybody wants to go out and be friends with Elon Musk and take their picture and do all the cool things, except for when it comes time to actually trying to reduce and rein in some of this stuff. Then they're like, oh, you know what? Can we save that for the 119th Congress? Let's wait for that.
It's amazing because I started my show earlier today here at AmericaFest, and we had this incredible crowd out, and I, I'm the kind of guy, I see something like that and I see opportunities. My eyes just start glittering. I say, oh, I have opportunities for mischief. Excellent. And so, and where I'm from in Philadelphia area, we used to call it Mischief Night. I don't think they don't call that in other parts of the country the night before Halloween. And so what I thought was, let's do an A/B test of the crowd. I said, crowd, who here thinks, and answer the question, yes or no, should Mike Johnson keep his job as speaker? The crowd roared, just roared.
It was very loud.
No. And should he step down? Yes. Should Elon Musk be speaker? Yes. I mean, just, unequivocal. And the idea being that it's business as usual, and you had so many people in DC, it's almost impossible for me to believe that there were folks who actually thought that it was all sort of lip service, and that you could sit around and ride on Trump Force One and go to the UFC rallies, and that's they kind of are like UFC rallies in a sense, and you do the walk-ins with Trump, and have all these opportunities. But at the end of the day, Elon Musk didn't build his companies by just sitting there and posting memes. I mean, that's the fun part, and sure, we all have fun doing that. Myself maybe a little more than most, but the essential point of it is, don't forget that email that Elon sent Parag Agrawal, who was the former CEO of Twitter, now X, when he's complaining, why are you going on X and trashing the board, why are you attacking us, why are you doing all this, it's causing all these problems, blah, 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 blah. And Elon just responds back to him, what did you accomplish today? What did you accomplish today? And the fact of the matter is that Elon is a practical guy, he's a pragmatic guy, but he's also the kind of guy who does not accept excuses.
Exactly.
He never has. And that's actually calling you to excellence. And so this Washington, D.C. narrative of, we'll get him next time, and we had to do it this way, but that'll put us in a better position for this. No. In the military, we used to have this phrase, what is the maximum effective range of an excuse? And the maximum effective range of an excuse is 0.
No, and we've been saying this for years. I've been saying this for years, trying to tell people, look, it's not going to be the same. The people don't care. And now finally that's catching up with everyone, because you have a group in power who is going to hold people accountable and not suffer fools gladly. And they're going directly to the people, right? I mean, it's instantaneous when the CR came out. Like, this is the dream for years, right? Immediately on X.
Almost sounds like you're talking about some kind of democratic interaction with our elected leaders.
Very
that
interesting.
Could,
like a representative democracy.
like a
I can't have that. No.
The way things are.
No. What?
Very uncomfortable.
Representing the people. I mean, that's just crazy talk.
I loved it earlier today on X. Bill Ackman came out and he said, you know what? All these bills that we're putting forth, they should be footnoted and have the person who is actually trying to add all of the pork, you have to attach your name to it, and you have to let the American people see who is
great.
Adding
That's great.
all of the crap that we don't want. And then maybe that is a nice deterrent. Elon was like, that's a great idea. Don Jr.'s like, yeah, that sounds pretty great. But it's at this point in time, Jack, that it feels like different options now are on the table. It's not just going to be business as usual. Things are changing.
Well, here's what it is. It's that, look, organizations like Claremont, like Human Events, like the Blaze, we've been talking about this stuff for years. We've been talking about it for years, absolutely. But here's the problem is, in the Republican Party, and certainly within the country, but even within the party, nobody was taking it seriously. Because the party, boys and girls, and I'm sorry if I have to, break a few hearts with this one, the party actually cares about money more than it cares about voters, or at least the original party, the old party. So the Republican Party cared a lot more about money than it cared about you. That's why it always seems like special interests got their way with these bills, because, well, they were the ones who were authoring them, which, by the way, the answer to Ackman's question is, it's not the congressmen who are writing them, it's the lobbyists, and who the lobbyists are then representing. This has been the process. So Claremont's understood that, the Blaze has understood that, Human Events has understood that, but you didn't have this level of scrutiny from some of the most powerful people, the richest people on the planet, looking at it saying, wait a minute, we said no pork. That means actually no. And so if you can't put up something clean, President Trump has the ability to do what Scott Adams calls the new CEO move. And the new CEO move is to make a big change right at the front that sets the narrative for the entire rest of their tenure. Well, now, CEO's tenure is a little bit longer than 4 years, but sometimes less if they don't do so well. So it could be, 24 hours ago, I didn't know if I would say this, or maybe even 48 hours ago now, but at that point ago, I didn't know that I'd be saying that, but I'm going to say it now. It looks like President Trump's new CEO move might be changing out the Speaker of the House.
Jack, don't go anywhere. When we come back, I know that you have an interesting tie-in. Luigi Mangione is the alleged murderer of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson, and you have an interesting connection to your book on humans. I want to dive into that a little bit more. But first, this part of the show is brought to you by Fox & Oden. You already know they are the premium whiskey. Fox & Oden, you can taste the difference, and they're founded by a new generation of whiskey makers, and they honor the pre-prohibition legacy with all their whiskey blending and finishing. They are award-winning, and you can taste the heritage and craftsmanship. You can buy it online at foxandoden.com. Use code America for free shipping. That's foxandoden.com. Promo code America for free shipping. We'll be back right after this. It's AmericaFest here in Phoenix, Arizona. We're at the lovely convention center. And Jack, you were mentioning earlier, this is the place where Donald Trump started everything back in 2015. It's an interesting place to be here now at this point in time, and just to see how everything has evolved since way back in 2015.
I'm sorry, I just have a little laugh because I thought you were about to say the lovely Jack Posobiec. You're like, we have the lovely. I'm like, wait, where are we going with this?
He's the lovely.
No, Jill
Jack
maybe.
Posobiec.
Matt, Doc Peterson, not so
Listen,
much.
I don't want Tanya to get mad at me, so we'll just say
I'm just
Jack
here to look
Posobiec.
pretty.
Yeah, you do look very pretty. You know, the skin. I love that. I love that.
Very good.
No Botox here, folks. No Botox. He doesn't put the poison in.
No.
Robert F. Kennedy's
Natural.
around. No. This is actually a historic location. This building is the first building that President Trump ever held a convention in, all the way back. I have to check the exact month, but Tyler Boyer, who is the COO for Turning Point Action, actually held that rally, introduced him, and it was basically just like it wasn't obviously the whole convention center like this with all the breakout rooms and everything that it's built into now, but yeah, this was the building.
And you were able to go through another huge turning point in Donald Trump's life was obviously July 13th.
That's right.
Right, and you wrote the book Bulletproof. You guys had that turned around so quickly, and you had so many details and so much that you were able to do so quickly. That was very impressive to see, just you getting history documented the way you did.
But somebody had to do it, we had just written the book, and doing 2 books in 1 year is I don't recommend it. Probably not a good idea. Certainly not good for your sanity, or if you ever try to sleep, unless you have a MyPillow like we do. We sort of already we were in like book writing mode, is sort of the easiest way I can explain this, because we had just put the book of Unhumans out, and I'm in the media tour. I came on the Blaze for the media tour, and I was with you guys, and you were gracious enough to have me on, and 2 weeks into it, the assassination attempt takes place, and I said, wait a minute, should we do another chapter on this and try to do like a second version of Unhumans? And then we saw, no, this has got to be a separate book. It's just got to be a whole separate book. And as it turns out, we, myself and my co-author Joshua Lysek, who is also here, he's running around dealing with his fans, and he gets a lot of fans. He's like Ringo Starr at these events. That he actually started writing some of the chapters, and the very first chapter in Bulletproof was written. I believe President Trump hadn't even exited the hospital yet from when it had happened, because we just started writing it down. And obviously I started collecting information immediately from, I knew so many people who were there. Saurabh Sharma from American Moment, my friend Bricksuit, who, by the way, that the angel photo that appears on the spine, I don't usually say this, but the angel photo that appears on the spine, as well as the bunting, are both actual photos from Bricksuit, who was at the rally front row center, getting his story, and just Turning Point staff and other individuals who were there that I was talking to on the first basis, just to try to get a sense of what had actually happened. And so all of that early information and all of those early interviews just turned into this book, which you see before you here. And it's really been a labor, and of course President Trump, I got a chance to show it to him, and he said, how did you do that so quickly? And I said, we just wrote, we just didn't stop writing. And that being said, for as much information as we did get in about Thomas Matthew Crooks, we actually hired a private investigator to go around in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. We uncovered the fact that there is in fact a federal grand jury that's been opened in the Western District of Pennsylvania, a fact that for some reason the New York Times or the Washington Post or CNN or any of the Pennsylvania media just weren't interested or curious enough to find out about. Well, we found out about it. We broke that story, and we have that here in the book. We think they may be looking at the father or potentially other accomplices that could have been involved in that shooting. And then just as the book goes to print, someone else tries to kill President Trump, and this is individual suspected, Ryan Wesley Routh, down in West Palm Beach. And so I got to actually say on the phone for once, seriously use the phrase "stop the presses." Then I found out that, and you do a lot of publishing, so I'm sure you may know this already. I got to find out that stopping the presses is actually very expensive once you've already started printing things, because we had to pulp like 30,000 book covers, but credit to Skyhorse and Tony Lyons and the team over there, they were able to do so for us, and we got a chapter in on Ryan Wesley Routh.
Let me just say a word about why this book is so important and why people should buy it, because this isn't something that's past. This needs to be memorialized, cannot be forgotten, and we still have to get to the bottom of a lot of this stuff. So the fact that you already have this artifact, this book Bulletproof, out there, that's something that everyone should purchase to remind themselves that this isn't over.
Oh, and we have the two books up. It's MAGAChristmasBooks.com.
There it is. I was going to say it would be a great Christmas present, because there's so many people that still need to know about this, and they
are
it's
not political. It's a whodunit. It's a true crime whodunit.
But they're trying to get it off the headlines, right? How many people are still talking about this? And we're all here. We're all very excited right now at AmericaFest, but that is still a thing that everybody, like you're saying, needs to get to the bottom of.
Yeah, and it's not just about the future, it's about the past, because this book really comes out of on humans. And
it does.
You were mentioning Luigi. I mean,
yes.
This is ripped out of today's headlines.
Yeah, so for a lot of folks who want to understand Luigi Mangione, they say, how can this guy who, by all accounts, he's incredibly wealthy, his family is richer than the victim, he lived a life of luxury, he incredibly, by every true definition of the word, privileged, with the wealthy family, has an Ivy League education, which he completed, by the way. There was some reporting on that, and they said, how could he possibly have committed an act such as this? And he's all but admitted that it's him on camera in many of even his public media appearances, that he's been shouting at the police. And you have to understand, it is a pathology. And then also, of course, the wider public response on the left to support Luigi Mangione, to cheer and applaud Luigi Mangione. You have to understand that you are dealing with an ideology and a pathology that has existed for 150 to 200 years. It goes back to revolutionary France and the guillotines. By the way, I don't know if you heard this, but the Sisters of Copignan, the nuns who were beheaded in the French Revolution because they wouldn't revoke their vows and because they said they would stand for God, and they were led off to the guillotines. It's just been announced by the Vatican this week that they are going to be canonized finally, which of course martyrs are saints to begin with, but they will be officially recognized by the Vatican. I mean, they're chopping the heads off of nuns. It went to revolutionary Russia, it went to Spain, it went to China, so many places, and now you see this ideology in America. That's the ideology we wrote about in Unhumans, that is a communist ideology based on resentment and anger. It's not about justice, it's not about healthcare, it's not about real estate or land ownership, it's about identifying an enemy class and persecuting, injuring, and doing anything you can to kill that enemy class.
Well, also, it looks like there's also a short version where J.D. Vance says you should read this book.
Oh, yeah. And I will
Carlson,
say, so
Donald Trump Jr.
So so J.D. Vance came out, and this is before he was picked as the vice presidential candidate. Really only as the book came out, probably about days before he was picked, but he didn't even know. And, we reached out to his office. They said they'd be more than happy to. And I will tell you something, that the media raked him over the coals for supporting this book, and we never once received a single word from JD or anyone associated with JD that he wanted to pull the blurb or anything like that.
Well, Jack, JD Vance loves you. The people here, the crowd here loves Jack Posobiec as well. Give us that website one more time where people...
MAGAChristmasBooks.com, MAGAChristmasBooks.com. By the way, this airs today, right?
That does.
So, okay, I know we're a little Magic of TV folks. If you order it today, this is the last day that you can receive shipping by December 25th. But for anyone who's here, we are going to be doing a book signing tomorrow, and we've got books available over in the hall.
Jack Posobiec, thanks so much for joining us.
God bless Jill. God bless Doc Peterson. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Merry Christmas to you as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more, but this portion of the show is brought to you by right here at Blaze. If you want to go out there and show your support for Blaze, you can go to shopblazemedia.com. We have all the Blaze Heritage Collection, Blaze Media, all the Trump Vance 2024 stuff. You can get on a t-shirt, coffee mug, everything that you're going to need to make your Christmas great. Go to shopblazemedia.com and use code BLAZE10 for 10% off your entire order. That's shopblazemedia.com, promo code BLAZE10.
Hi.
AmericaFest here in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's so exciting. The people that you're going to see here, everybody has been walking around. The doors are open. Things are getting started down here, and we ran into the wonderful Sage Steele. She's the host of the Sage Steele Show, and I am so excited to have you because I have also left sports and jumped into this crazy political world that we have now.
Was that your plan?
It was
not my plan.
It was my plan. But I want to get into that a little bit with you because now the Sage Steele Show is doing so well. I see all the guests that you have. It's so exciting to see and just dive into your transition into here and how you actually got here.
I don't know how I got here. That's a great question. Let me know if you find out the answer. Number one, God, because I think, especially the last couple of years since my drama began at ESPN, I just finally gave up control. And okay, I don't know what the heck's happening. I don't know where I'm going to go next. I don't know where I'm going to get a paycheck from next. But I'm just going to trust. And so it's been beautiful to see that evolution and really what everybody says, when you let go and let God, then you never know what happens. So I'm proof of that. I never wanted to do politics. I wanted to stay away from it, even with my show, which began in March. Took a little 2-month hiatus when I ended up on the campaign trail, which again is nothing I ever thought I would ever do or want to do. It's insane. I didn't want to do politics because I'm like, they're going to corner me as a right-wing nut job, and then anyone who thinks differently won't give me a chance to come on and just have a conversation. So I didn't want to do any of this. And here we are. I've had such a blast. I'm not answering your sports question, am I?
That's okay.
I'll go back. Yes. Honestly, I was at my dream job for almost 17 years. When I was 11 years old, I said I wanted to be a sportscaster and eventually get to ESPN. 11 years climbing from local TV to regional before, saying yes to ESPN and going in 2007. So I was in my dream job and loved it forever, even till the end. After it got crazy, I always loved my job. Sports Center, NBA Countdown, whatever it was, and telling stories and educating people and asking questions that the fans can't ask. I want to make that clear. I never stopped loving what I did. It was what came with it and hypocrisy within it, where these executives talk so much about DEI and inclusiveness and accountability and accepting, and then when it came time for me to have my own opinions off the air on my private time, I never crossed that line. I was a sportscaster, not a political analyst. That's when I got punished, and when I got punished for being me when the others were allowed to talk about abortion on an NBA show, that's when I said, okay, enough.
I remember the Jay Cutler podcast that you.
Oh, Jay!
Yes. But you had the Band-Aid there with the jab, and it was a very emotional moment there for you.
I've been asked so many times if that was a prop, if that was intentional. That day that I recorded that podcast, mid-September 2021, was the last day possible for me to become fully vaccinated to comply with ESPN Disney's vaccine mandate policy. I waited to the very last moment to get it because I was contemplating walking away from my entire career over the jab. and I am the mother of 3 kids. Currently, all 3 kids are in college. I am 100% responsible for them and my ex-husband, frankly, and so I didn't have the ability to walk away financially, nor did I want to. I love my job. And so I literally came from this stupid grocery store where I had gotten my shot, sobbing because I felt forced to do it. I was forced to do it, I guess, essentially, and embarrassed that I caved. But I felt I had no choice in that moment. And so I came right from the grocery store parking lot crying to Jay's podcast, and I forgot the Band-Aid was there. And he asked me if he could ask me about it, and I was like, sure, why not? Look at my face, I'm crying. And I was not oh my gosh, I wasn't trying to stir the pot. I was giving my genuine answer, which was, I think it's sick and scary for any company, employer, business to force their people to do something to their bodies. But I understood based on the climate of what we were in at that time, and that Disney was a global company. So when it actually hit air, that's when I got, called into the office, so to speak, and, forced to apologize, etc.
So, when you talk about, I like the way you said, giving up, giving over to God. It doesn't matter, for the audience's sake. It's not like they can't. No one sits there and can say, after everyone's been through the last 4 years, oh well, you had a fancy job with ESPN, and so it must have been easy. The process that you went through is the process that I think many Americans have gone through, right? And tell me about this giving up, because a lot goes into that, right? The fear is it's giving up your dream in a way, right? So whether you work at a school that's persecuting you, right, a local school, an elementary school, whether you work for ESPN, wherever you are, there's been a lot of people who struggled, I think, with this same dilemma because you have to walk away. Talk about that process.
Devastating. I still struggle to think about it, and it's been 3 years since all this was taking place, and I had been suspended and taken off the air and publicly apologizing and taking my assignments away. And then I've been gone since August of 23, so, whatever that is, 17 months. I still struggle because I'm sad that it got to that point, while at the same time being grateful, right, for where I am and the why behind it. So I think we have to identify with all those emotions and not try to push out the fear. And it is true. I personally just relied on my family, my parents, my kids. Like I said, at the time of all the drama, they were 15, 17, and 19. And I've been preaching to them for so long about being true to themselves and standing up and not being quiet. And then who am I to then cave when it certainly, was a big deal, but you can't rank them as far as, okay, you can be strong here, but not here. Like, which one is it? And my ultimate why is because I just pray that my kids are tougher than I was sooner. They know now. And by the way, this has affected them on many levels. People come after and threaten my children, threaten to rape my daughters, threaten death, that they wish I would drive off the side of a curb and never, or a cliff. So I've had to eliminate those from, I don't read a lot of comments for that reason. And I think also, again, just getting on my knees and what do I do here, God? Because I don't know. And finally, something I never thought would come was people coming up to me in public, thousands of emails and DMs from people across the world who had never heard of me, but since my name was associated with fighting Disney, they heard about me. And when I realized that I was touching people in different countries who I'll never meet, I'm like, this is not even about me. I just happen to be the mouth, the big mouth right now. The mouth that got me in trouble is the mouth that actually I think has saved me now, because it doesn't matter how confident or successful you are. I know now, this sounds cheesy to some, but I know why I'm on this earth, to be a mom to those 3 crazies, even though they can't stand me half the time. And because I no longer have a fear to stand up and tell the truth. So the process is continuing to evolve, but when you know you're not alone, and when you know that your strength is helping others, that would be selfish of me to stay quiet. When I have this crazy platform just from talking about sports, what a waste it would have been to stay quiet.
That is such a powerful message, and I know that we're sitting here, we don't have couches, we don't have the nice fuzzy socks here today, Sage.
I can bring you some.
I would love that, but take us into the Sage Steele Show then, and how you managed to go out and do it on your own. You were just telling us how you're setting your booth up here, everything's going. It's not the huge backing and all the people of ESPN behind you now, it's the Sage Steele Show in every regard.
So me and my best friend Sue went shopping last night at a great store here in Scottsdale because I've never done a booth. I don't have a set. I don't have a team. You guys are great. I don't have any of this, and I'm financing this on my own right now because I believe in it, and I'm just praying that changes. And I know that it will. We're getting there. Actually, I have some things in the works for sure. My whole goal is to have conversations, even on SportsCenter. For all those years, you know, if I had a 6-minute interview, which was long in live television, right? 6 to 8 minutes, super long. X's and O's, what happened in this game, and all the things. And I'm like, guys, I gotta get something personal. Because I feel like even if you don't watch the NBA or UFC, if you can find out something about that athlete, that will bring in someone else. And maybe they can identify with them having an alcoholic father. So I've always tried to personalize everything. No matter what network platform I was on. And so to be able to do it now on my shows with a variety of guests, from Dana White to RFK Jr. back in May, to Sharon Osbourne, to Gina Carano, to Krista Stefano, comedians. Like, I'm learning so much. And most importantly, this is why I've been able to continue. When you let go of the fear of not being liked, when you let go of the fear of being canceled, because I'm really good at getting canceled. But the beautiful thing is the next day I always wake up and I'm like, I'm still here. So the show is a conversation, and I think that's what America has been lacking. True conversations. I've had Mayim Bialik, remember Blossom and Big Bang Theory and Jeopardy host? We could not think more differently. And guess what? We had the best, most beautiful conversation. That's what we need, and that's what I hope to continue to do. Like I said, I took a hiatus during the campaign and just started, I just released yesterday's podcast with John Rich. You talk about courage. The country star, like, you talk about courage for what he has said and done. The people I'm speaking with inspire me, and I hope inspire other people to be true to themselves.
You got to go to his house in Nashville. I've been there before, too.
I had never been there.
Incredible. He has the guitar-shaped pool for everybody that doesn't know.
And the toilets.
The toilets, he has, and yes.
That's the most Nashville thing ever.
He has
the
a bar
pool
built into his house. Staff comes in there.
Yeah.
He has a saddle that's a disco ball at the top of it. John Rich does it right. But you mentioned on the campaign trail. Take us into being a part of the Trump team.
Girl,
you and Lara Trump were going all over.
I had no clue. I'm like,
sure, I'll go.
well, I had Laura on my show and Lynn Patton. And then I said, guys, I'd love to just continue to learn more and get more involved, maybe quietly. And then they're like, hey, we're going on this Women for Trump tour. Do you want to come? And I was like, sure. I just moved to Florida, just moved a couple weeks prior. This is in September. And they said, yeah, meet us at the Palm Beach airport at 6 a.m. on this day. And we're going to go to, I think it was Atlanta for the day. And we're going to pass out food at these food banks desperately in need of food. This is an interesting stat. From 2021 through 2024, the number of people that these food banks serve has increased from 300 per week in the Atlanta area, 300 per week, to 1,700 per week families. So what were we doing? We're bringing food and just being there for these people and women-owned businesses. People don't talk about that during the last 3-4 years because of what? Because of the administration that was in there. And so I realized by me coming and putting on that pink jacket, which was a little bit scary, because it's like, okay, if you put that on and put it on social, now you're a Trumper, now you're done. And again, it was bigger than me. And when you realize that there are so many people suffering because of inflation and the economy and the border issues, if I have this platform, how am I not? So Lara Trump, first and foremost, is the most impressive woman I've been around in so long. She has so much courage. She and Michael Whatley single-handedly, in my mind, saved this country in this election by buckling down with the RNC and making sure of the cheating issue, stuff like that. They're amazing. And then what did she do? She met me at the airport at 5 a.m. She worked out beforehand, which made me really not like her.
Of course.
Because I'm like a slacker and I'm like barely making it. And she did an hour-long workout, and that's why she looks like that. And then we get there on the ground and we're with these people and women who had the courage to start businesses and thanking the people in the campaigns in these cities. And then we rush back to the airport so she can be there to tuck in her kids. So like to see the human level of the Trump family was amazing. And then I'll say an honor to be able to moderate Trump's town hall in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, as well as J.D. Vance's in Pennsylvania. Guys, I never, ever dreamt of this. And I'm so grateful. And the way that they treated me as just a teammate and made me feel comfortable, because I'm like, they were amazing. It was the biggest blessing of my life besides having my babies.
So we get the big victory in November. Yeah. Everybody is very excited. Where do we go from here as a country, right? You're trying to have conversations. People are trying to come together. It feels like the country is shifting into a different direction. So
I agree.
Yeah, let me add to that real quick, because just let's bring back that real part of the beginning. Practically speaking, right? The reality is, when people leave, whether it's a law school, elite law firm or bank or whatever, a lot of people have gone through this, and they leave that, ESPN is an elite media institution, right? So you have all the benefits of that, and an entire ecosystem that funds it, and a ton of talent like all around you. And let's be real about this. Like when you leave that, right? And then all of a sudden, of course, it's scary because that doesn't exist. But now, to what Jill is saying, it feels like in this new frontier, in this open space, there's all these people coming together, and the possibility is to build new things. And so we are always curious about people who are going and doing this from the cutting edge, about how it's going. You are on the cutting edge.
Am I?
Yes.
Yeah, it still freaks me out, because when you work in network television for 30 years, you only know one way. I have never been a leader per se, like title or position. I've had my job, and I answered to 65 bosses at ESPN and everywhere else. So to do it on your own has been super hard. And I'm learning how much I need structure, which is what you have when you have to host a national TV show every day at ESPN. So I have to create my own, and I'm not good at it. So I'm learning about that. That the algorithm of YouTube and all that, like I have no idea. So I'm just winging it, but having the conversations. And also, I really believe, obviously we are headed in a great direction. The number of people, first of all, this is record setting for AmFest, right? The number of people who are paying to be here is incredible. It speaks to I think the tenor of the country. I live in Florida. I walk every day on the beach. The MAGA hats are everywhere now. First of all, I'm like, oh, now, where have you been? Yeah. We need a, it's fine. You can jump on our bandwagon now. But there's so many people who have come up and said they're so relieved. They're so excited because they finally feel like they're not alone. And it takes, though, people like you guys, all of us, to not be fearful. That's what this is. Professionally, personally, with your neighbors and your family who might think differently. Lead with kindness, have the tough conversations, and then be bold. And like, we're all here for a reason. Again, a couple years ago, you're doing sports.
Yes.
You would never probably have thought of this, but you're here for a reason, and we are making a difference.
Sage Steele, I can't thank you enough for having the courage yourself to step out, because you are as well making a difference. And everybody, go check out the Sage Steele Show. Thanks so much.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. It means a lot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Homestead. It's a new movie that's going to be hitting theaters December 20th, and it's where the holiday spirit is going to meet survival. This Christmas, step into a world where family, love, and hope shine brighter than ever, even in the darkest times. And you can pre-order your tickets at angel.com/Jill for your chance to win a $300,000 giveaway. It includes a full Bitcoin, a fully furnished tiny home from BoxHouse, and a custom Polaris O-H-V from Sparks Motors, and everything else that you'll need to start your own homestead. Again, it's angel.com/Jill, angel.com/Jill. There is a lot of energy right now at the convention center here in Phoenix. AmFest is off to a very hot start, MP.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be able to get through this block because so many people are yelling and screaming amazing things all around us. Energy is high.
The energy is high, and I want to let everybody know this part of the show is brought to you by First Liberty Institute. They're the nation's largest legal dedicated group to defending religious liberty freedoms for all Americans, and they're standing up for Dad's Place. It's a small church in Bryan, Ohio that serves as a refuge for the needy on cold nights, and local officials are waging a relentless battle battle right now to shut down this church. And Pastor Chris Avail has been threatened with jail time because he wants to practice his faith and help the needy. So First Liberty Institute is fighting back, and they need your help. So you can sign the petition now. Go tell the city leaders to stop harassing Pastor Chris. It's firstliberty.org/Jill to sign the petition and learn how you can help. It's firstliberty.org/Jill. Peterson, there's so much going on right now in DC. There's so much going on in Phoenix right now. But the CR is the news of the day, and we saw pictures that came out earlier today of the old spending bill, which was over 1,500 pages. And the new spending bill is 116 pages, significantly different when you can go see that picture on X right now. But to see the American people go out there and stand up and say, you know, we're going to call our elected officials. We're not just going to let this one slip by in the dead of night as usual.
It's almost as if you had, like, if you look at the number of pages, right? It's every post that Elon posts, right? The pages went down.
He did.
It's like he got rid of 100 a tweet, and boom, 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 that thing went way down right away in real time, and we are in a different universe than we were in politically before November.
Yeah, and they said that there has been a suspended debt limit until January of 2027. That was one of the things that Donald Trump came out and said that he really wanted to see. So there is some good with bad. We know that Trump doesn't want the debt limit. You know, as the fiscal conservative in me, I'm still going, I would rather have Elon Musk's approach of let's cut and reduce and not worry about extending debt limits higher.
Well, look, I mean, I think, that is obviously something people raise eyebrows about. Chip Roy already has. But I think that also you only deal with one thing at a time. So the prudential argument would be, look, we need to push the can on that. We're going to deal with that later. We got to get this thing passed in a way that's sensible now and get what we want on some other matters.
Well, one of the things that we did get that we wanted, our friend Gabe Kaminsky from the Washington Examiner, he wrote there on X today that the new bill does not include extending the life of the Global Engagement Center after conservative pressure. And we've had him on the show before to talk about that and how terrible that would be for conservatives.
I mean, the fact that that was in there is one of the most insane things about all of this. That we're paying the government to persecute conservative media and media they don't like. Absolutely reprehensible. So getting rid of all of that crap is really important, and it looks like some improvements have been made.
And conservative media, you can tell right here at AmericaFest, is alive and well right now, Matthew.
Oh yeah. So you go to this thing, you walk around this booth here, and there are a lot of people here. I mean, there are a lot of different outfits, a lot of different organizations. This is not like some, fringe, little conference. This is mainstream with a lot of different people being represented in a large realigning coalition of media and new stars and figures all over the place, and it's happening in real time, just as you see, politics change and. In real time, it's happening here. So when you look around here, you can hear in our background people yelling and screaming, and this thing hasn't even really hardly officially started, right? It's like
these are the first hours of the first day. Not even everybody is here yet, but we are located right on the main entrance into the main stage, is where you can walk by. You can see us here if you're going to be coming out here a little bit later this weekend. We'd love to say hi and see everything that's going on here, because Charlie Kirk and his team at Turning Point have done a phenomenal job making this a destination the weekend before Christmas. Everybody knows it's going to be on your calendar. Speaker Mike Johnson knew it was on his calendar, but he went ahead and he decided he's not going to come here this weekend instead.
Wow.
Yeah,
I wonder why. I'm not sure. Why would Mike Johnson not want to? Oh, maybe this is the end. I don't know.
That means there's a hole in the schedule, and our friend Jack Posobiec, who was with us earlier, is petitioning for Elon Musk to come and take his spot speaking. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but it's a nice thought. This is a big enough event now. Maybe we'll see Elon this weekend. He is everywhere where Trump goes, and we know President Trump will be here later this weekend.
Yeah, I
mean, Elon, I feel like he does have a few things going on, so maybe the speakership is, maybe not that. But, Vivek could do it. I mean, there's a lot of people who could do it outside of the House. That would be interesting. And the one thing that you can count on is that you don't know what to count on anymore. Like, all the old rules are broken, and we are in a completely wide open frontier.
Let's look at the different phases that we've gone through since November, right? We were, as we said, cautiously optimistic about the election. We didn't know if it was actually going to happen or not. Too big to rig was thrown out there a lot. And then the euphoria of the win, we were celebrating for the entire week. We're like, it's Christmas right now. We got to see the different appointments come out, and most of them are largely very good, and people are very excited. He definitely riled up the base with the appointments that he's had. And then you transition that into AmericaFest. This is quite a month and a half, if you will, for conservatives. And I don't know if we're used to just going out here and having this much fun, Peterson.
Yeah, so what I sense already here is that since the election happened, 'cause remember, I think most people on the right didn't know what would happen. They didn't expect necessarily a win. They didn't know, we were in the midst of a kind of oppressive regime that seemed like impossible to get rid of. And now, then it happened. And all of a sudden, what's been building over all these weeks is increasingly the realization we are in charge. MAGA is the majority. The majority is MAGA. And now, when you come to AmFest, it's like a locomotive train that's really starting to take off. And that's the spirit of what's going on here. You can sense this is a movement that really has just got shot out of a cannon.
Sage Steele was coming out here and she said, this is the largest crowd that we've ever had here. This is exciting to be here at this moment in time. So I'll ask you, where does this movement go from here? Because if we go through and we look at a potential Doge win already, I mean, people thought, okay, how much effect are they going to have? If Vivek and Elon are outside the system, can they actually change the way that DC is run? Well, this is a resounding win already to go from 1,500 pages to 116 pages. This is already happening.
Yes.
Things are changing every single hour at this point in time.
Yeah, and remember, I mean, Trump is not even in the office yet. I mean, this is not like anything you've seen before. This is not like 2016. We're sitting here at AmFest where Charlie Kirk, who people would make fun of and say, oh, he's this bad figure on the right, or what a turning point. What do they do? Now he is the largest right-leaning organizational event that ever is here. And what is Charlie doing? Well, Charlie's helping inform the President of the United States on who he should pick to bring into the new administration. Charlie is all over the map helping to lead this movement forward. This isn't a joke. We're steering the ship now. And so, the momentum that you see now, it's really just begun. And in those first 100 days, what Trump is doing now is preparing the way to make sure that in those first 100 days, they actually get things done. It will not be like last time, depending on, people in the House who are terrible. I won't even mention their names, Paul Ryan. That's not the way it's going to be.
And we will be here with Blaze Media every step of the way between now, Inauguration Day, and everything through the next 4 years. It's going to be an exciting time. Be sure to subscribe to Blaze News Tonight on your favorite podcast platform because we are going to be back at AmericaFest tomorrow. The man, the myth, the legend, Glenn Beck will also be here. It's going to be a great time from Phoenix, and we'll see you back here, everybody, tomorrow.